What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are ready for a big episode tonight. Zip It Up Pod coming right out of Pocono and leading in to the in-season challenge, which starts at what track are we at? Atlanta this week. I've done all these notes and I couldn't even remember what track we're headed to, but boy, yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Great episode is planned for you. I'm really excited because we do have a special guest that's going to join towards the end of this episode. So here's what it's going to look like tonight. We will start with our Pocono recap. We will obviously do an Atlanta preview. And then after we do the Atlanta preview, I'm going to have someone join me on camera. And we will do our picks for the in-season challenge. We're going to fill out our brackets. And so we haven't practiced or choreographed anything. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but the special guest is a little bit young. So we're going to be patient with him, but I'm looking forward to it. That's coming at the end of this episode. Okay. So with that being said, we got to jump right in because I don't know how long we might take at the end of this episode. And I want to get all of our talking points, make sure we mention them all before we bring them on. So let's start first with a drink. Tonight, I am sipping on a Coke Zero that my wife just poured me. And she spiked it, apparently. I forgot she spiked it. I just remembered I actually asked her to spike it. So, yeah, that's a correct drink that was poured for me. A spiked cherry Coke Zero. But anyway, I want to give a shout out, or this week's toast is going to go out to my cousin. My cousin is found out this afternoon that she is in labor and delivery right now. So hopefully we have another baby being added to the family very soon. We're looking forward to that. We've been praying for this delivery to go smooth and for mommy and baby to be healthy. And looking forward to meeting her daughter. And so that could be any time now. Maybe while I'm on the pod, we get that news. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe the next day. Whenever the Lord wants to have that baby make her arrival, we are anxiously waiting. And, my two kids are about to get a brand new best friend because they love their family, their cousins more than anybody. So, really looking forward to adding a new addition to the family. And so, with that, cheers. And we love you, Madison. And yeah, that's to my cousin tonight. I guess that could be to all moms, all mothers, all mommies. They do, their body does something that my body will never comprehend. And so, yeah, hats off to y'all. But let's go ahead and get into our recap of Pocono this past week. Got a few things that I want to mention, and I will try to make it brief, but I feel like these things do need to be brought up and talked about and discussed. So that came off the tongue a little weird. I'm not disgusted. I want to have a discussion. I said discuss, like I was disgusted about it, and I'm not. I'm not disgusted about Pocono's winner. I am disgusted about the racing that we see on the track, but that's just how it goes. That's how it goes at Pocono, and especially now with the next gen car, it's definitely not going to get any better. So we will remain disgusted at it, and we will continue to fall in love with our disgust towards the racing that we see on track. But anyway, Briscoe needs to be mentioned. He won the race this past week, and look, he's having a really good season. I think he's going overlooked right now. And so I wanted to just spend a couple minutes talking about him and how great he's been because we took him last week as a long shot. If you put $2 on Briscoe, Sunday afternoon he won you $50. And so, yeah, a long shot that we went on and picked last week's episode pretty confidently. In fact, I'm in a custom-made fantasy league that we've been doing for several years now, and every week we have a draft where you get to choose a driver. Briscoe usually goes in the second round of the draft. So I probably could have got him in the second round, but instead, I took him in the first round this past week with the 5th overall pick. I was just really confident in him. And the reason is because he has tons of speed right now. And I don't think it's getting talked about enough. And everywhere we go where your car needs speed in order to perform and get you results, he's right up at the top of guys with speed. I wouldn't take him so much at a technical place like, the road courses. Um, I'm not taking him at the short tracks yet. Um, but the bigger tracks that are just you lay it all out, you hit that throttle. Pocono came to mind. Indianapolis comes to mind. Las Vegas, Michigan. These are tracks where you have to have speed a little bit more than technicality, and he seems to excel right now with a speedier race car than he's ever had in his career. And so yeah, he's been sneaky good this year with Joe Gibbs Racing. And I gotta say, his first season, we're halfway through this season, and his first season in the number 19 is already better than Truex's last season in the number 19. Truex did not win a race last year, and I don't know how many poles Truex won, but I don't think that he won 4 poles. I could be wrong, and I will be happy to admit that I'm wrong if someone can. I wish I would have got that stat earlier, but anyway, what we do know about Briscoe's season is that he's got 4 poles. That's because he is the fastest car when they lay down a lap in order to set the qualifying grid, right? What we don't know about Briscoe is that he's got 6 top 5 finishes this season. Before Pocono, he had 5 top 5 finishes. That's getting overlooked. No one's talking about that stat. I don't remember the races that he's finished top 5 in. So yeah, he's got great speed, and like I said, he's going to be a problem when we go to Indianapolis here in a few weeks for the Brickyard 400, a crown jewel event for NASCAR, and that's his home state of Indiana, where he's going to want to put a race together. And you don't have to be so technical at Indy. It's just a big track. It's got those 4 turns, and you just got to be faster than everybody else. And right now, when it comes to speed, Briscoe is just about as fast as everyone else. He had 2 guys that were behind him on Sunday afternoon. Hamlin finished second, which is the all-time leader in Pocono wins, I'm pretty sure. And then behind him in third was Ryan Blaney, a former champion of the sport who we think all year long has had some of the best speed that we see in the Cup Series. So, look, I know that we can really get down to talking about the finish of that race. They weren't going full throttle, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, it's still racing at the end of the day. They could not get around him. He had a way of getting out in front, and I don't think it was a fluke. I would not have drafted him as the 5th overall pick last week if I didn't think that Briscoe could continue to do this. It's not a fluke. We're going to continue to see him win in the 19 car, so we better get used to it. And I mean, every year he does it. Every year he'll come through somewhere and get a win that you just really don't expect it. And for the majority of NASCAR fans this past week, Pocono was that race this year that he got the win at. And look, pressure's off now, at least a little bit, and he probably could go out and get a couple more wins, as great as he is looking this season. So I thought that should be mentioned. Next, we got Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins as a crew chief. Look, here on Zip It Up Pod, we are big fans of Junior. He is a former driver of Hendrick Motorsports. And so, yeah, really have always respected him. But when he took over the 88, that's when I really became to like him. And as he left the driving aspect of his career, he stepped into, it seems like, more roles that he's heavily included in. He's got Junior Motorsports, so we root for JRM on Saturdays, and he's really good in the booth when he's calling races. Um, he's just a fan favorite guy, and he makes NASCAR better everywhere he goes. He's a racing guy through and through, and the sport is better because of him. He's great in everything he does. He really is. And so, this past week he was the crew chief for Connor Zilisch, and Connor Zilisch went on to win his first career oval race in the Xfinity Series. And I believe everybody will agree that that's not going to be Zilisch's last career oval win. He's going to have many, many more. But this came at a monumental time on a big day where Dale Earnhardt Jr. was sitting on the top of the box for the first time ever, and maybe the last time ever. So he's going to go down as 1-for-1, perfect batting average as crew chief. And commend him. Credit to Junior for being so good at everything he does for this sport. And man, I know I would love to see him do it again, do it some more. Maybe he will, but if he doesn't, that's fine too. The guy is involved in so much. Like I said, everything he touches is gold in this sport, and we are blessed to have him as passionate about the sport as he is. All right, next up, a couple things I wanted to point out about Hendrick Motorsports this past week. First of all, we did set a Hendrick Motorsports record. So this past week, Chase Elliott finished 5th place in the race. And that is key because that set a record for the longest streak of races that a Hendrick Motorsports driver has finished at least in the top 5. We now have gone 25 straight points paying races where we've had at least one of our drivers finish top 5. The last time we did not finish in the top 5 was September 15th of last season. That was at Watkins Glen, which is usually a strong racetrack for us. But that day, Larson was our best finisher, and he finished 12th. So we didn't even have a top 10 that day. But ever since then, we've had at least one car finish the race in the top 5. And we will see if it continues this week. We are going to a track that is considered a little bit of a wild card, where we can have a really great race and maybe have all 4 drivers finish top 5, or we might have none. So we'll see if the streak can stay alive. But thanks to Chase for keeping that streak alive, finishing 5th this past week at Pocono. And then to continue giving Chase Elliott some credit is right now at this point in the season, he's the only Cup driver to finish top 20 in all races this year. So that's been 17 straight races that he has started this season. He has not finished worse than 20th. In fact, last season, he went on the same streak to begin the year, and that streak went 19 races before he finally finished outside of the top 20. So he's getting close. He's getting close to that number. However, the all-time record is 29, and that guy was Bill Elliott. Chase Elliott's dad went 29 races to start the season, finishing in the top 20. That actually was the entire season schedule in 1988. And I think that might have been a championship year for Bill. I did not look that up either. But yeah, Chase is he's not winning as much as we wish he was, but he is the most consistent driver in the garage 2 years running, where he has this streak alive halfway through the season. It's pretty incredible, really impressive that he can come back to finish top 20 in all these races. And looking at Atlanta, which we're going to preview in a few minutes, when I was looking at that earlier, when we were here earlier in the season, Chase finished 20th in that race. So he has landed right on the money, but that streak is still alive. He's not finished worse than 20th this year. Okay, so that's all the talking points I wanted to make sure I hit. Now we'll go into our team-by-team analysis from Pocono this past week. And we'll start with our best finisher, who I just mentioned was Chase Elliott. He did start 18th. He scored stage points in every stage this past week and then went on to finish 5th. It was a good, solid points day for Chase Elliott, keeping that Hendrick Motorsports record alive and his top 20 streak alive as well. And right now, we can see speed coming together. We can see the team coming together. Things are trending in the right direction for Chase and the number 9 team. And, that's 2 weeks in a row where he's finished top 5 in back-to-back races. And it feels like it's been a while since he's been able to say that. So, we see things starting to turn in the right direction. We see light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like a win's coming soon. And maybe we will consider that for Atlanta this week, right? We'll talk about Atlanta in a few. But Kyle Larson, he was our next best finisher this week, but he started 24th, and then he went on to finish 7th. So he didn't score many stage points. I think he had a couple. But this week, he really wasn't threatening for the win. A lot of people picked him at Pocono, and I was feeling pretty good about him going into Pocono as well. But because he just hasn't been able to put it together there yet. But his day's coming, and but his day was not this past week. However, it wasn't a wash of a day. He did get a top 10, and that's what we expect, okay? At the minimum, those are our expectations. So, yeah, Larson met expectations. We'll put that one down. And then Alex Bowman, he started 25th and went on to finish 11th. Felt like he was going to be a top 10 car. I thought it was a solid day for the 48 team. So, really, 11th place doesn't really tell a story. But, what we've seen from this team all year long, 11th is something you do have to live with. So, I think it helped him points-wise. But because Briscoe did win, that took another playoff spot away. And so we'll mention the playoff standings in just a few minutes. But, Bowman had a so-so day. I think it could have been better, but we know it could have been a lot worse as well. And then last but not least was William Byron. This was surprising because he was fastest in practice, and then he wrecked in qualifying. So he went to start 31st, and he ended up scoring stage points in both of the first 2 stages, and then finished 27th. And to be honest, he might have had the best car out of our 4 cars from Hendrick this past week. William looked really good all weekend long, but just continued to find trouble, or trouble continued to find him. And that's how it goes sometimes. But he's having such a great year, and he's in great shape in the point standings, where he is still the points leader coming out of Pocono. But, I mentioned last week, I forget where he finished, but it was around the 10th place area last week. And it kind of felt like that might be the beginning of a summer slump for William Byron, which we've become accustomed to. And so, this week, finish at 27th. We're going to have to watch closely if the 24 team continues to do this. Hopefully not. But I just want to put everyone on high alert. As good as they are, every summer they do seem to have a little bit of a slump, which is normal for all teams. All the great teams do go through a period where they're not on top anymore. But, we're going to watch that closely here. Okay, so let me update you on the current playoff standings. Right now, Larson leads the playoff standings with 23 playoff points. And William Byron, he has secured a spot in the playoffs, but he does lead the point standings by 54 points. And I believe that's Larson in second in those standings. So the ones that we really need to pay attention to are the playoff standings, though. Chase Elliott is currently 12th in the playoff standings. He's in good shape points-wise because he's plus 160 points to the good. So it is everyone feels really confident about them making the playoffs. But if he wants to go ahead and win a race and lock himself in, that would be wonderful too. But doesn't really feel like he's on the bubble. unless we get a lot more surprise winners here in the next few weeks. However, he's only 2 points out of third overall in the point standings. I just mentioned Byron is first, Larson is second, and then Chase he's fifth, but he's only 2 points out of third, so he's right there, kind of neck and neck with Denny and I can't even remember Bell. I think Christopher Bell is the other guy right there. So, look, he's having a consistent year. We just want to see him contend more for wins. And then Alex Bowman is right on the bubble right now. He is 16th in the playoff standings, so he would be the last driver to get in. Right now, he is in by 20 points. So we want to see that number increase, and we also want to see that 16th get a little bit better too, because if we have some other drivers below him in the standings win races, that is going to knock him down even further. And he does not need that at this point. So that's how the playoff standings look as we head into Atlanta, which will be the 18th race of the season. And it will be the second time that we visited Atlanta this year. I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I'm going to call it Atlanta because I don't know it as anything else. It is Atlanta Motor Speedway. Apparently, some sponsor took over the track and they gave it a complete makeover. But yeah, we ain't calling it that. It is Atlanta that we're going to this week. And with that being said, Hendrick Motorsports has 73 races at Echo Park Speedway. And at Echo Park Speedway, we have 17 wins, which is the most of all teams. We have 9 poles, 67 top fives, which is most, 106 top tens, which is most. And we've led 3,690 laps at Echo Park Speedway, which is the most of all teams leading laps at Echo Park Speedway. I had to do that. All right. I got it out of my system. It truly is Atlanta, though. Well, I should have worn a Braves hat or a Braves jersey since we're going to Atlanta. What was I thinking? I got my Magic jersey on because tonight is the NBA draft. And I got a lousy 9 hat on. Could be rocking the Bravos right now under 500. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, let's look at each of our drivers' individual history at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Beginning with Larson. Larson will be the 10 seed this week. He's going against the number 23 seed, Tyler Reddick. But at Atlanta, Larson has 15 starts, no wins, and no poles. He's got 3 top fives, 5 top tens. He's led 452 laps, and his average finish is 19th. And earlier this year, he finished third. Now, Atlanta has become a super speedway track, which is a weakness of Kyle Larson's. However, he is having his best season at the super speedways. So I do think he's going to be quite a threat this week. But I just want to say, if this was still the old Atlanta, I feel like that lined up perfectly with Kyle Larson's racing style, and he would be obliterating some of these stats probably. I think he would have multiple wins. He'd probably led 1,000 laps by now, but that is not the case. We have New Atlanta, which is a super speedway, and he will get his time still. But boy, he would have been so good in this 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports. Even the next gen car, he would have been so good on old Atlanta, I think. So I just want to say that. But anyway, next is Chase Elliott. He is our highest seed in the bracket challenge. He is going to be the 5 seed this week, going up against the number 28 seed, Austin Dillon. Now, at Atlanta, Chase Elliott has 13 starts. He's got 1 win, no poles, 2 top fives, 8 top tens, 164 laps led. His average finish is a 12.2. And earlier this season, like I mentioned, he finished 20th at Atlanta. Next up, we got William Byron, who will be the 18 seed versus the number 15 seed, Ryan Preece. So Byron is the lowest seed of our drivers, even though he is the point standings leader. Anyway, At Atlanta, William Byron has 12 starts, and he's got 2 wins, no poles, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. He's led 181 laps. His average finish is a 17.8, and earlier this season, he finished 27th. And then last, we got Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman will be the number 8 seed going against the 25 seed Joey Logano. Bowman at Atlanta has no wins and no poles, but he's got 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. He's led just 11 laps. His average finish is 18th, and earlier this year, he finished 26th. So that is how our drivers look heading in to the ATL. All right. Some betting lines that I wanted to make heard on this podcast this week. I got these from the Hard Rock app probably about 3 hours ago. So just this afternoon, I was making sure to jot down some of these odds. I'm going to mention a lot because this is one of those wild card tracks. Anyone could win. It's a super speedway. Certainly, there will be some long shots to consider. But let's begin first with the favorite of the race, and that is Mr. Ryan Blaney. He is plus 750 to win this race. Usually a favorite for a race is going to be below 500, but this week we can see the super speedway increment there, plus 750 for Blaney to win. William Byron is our best odds this week. He's plus 1,200, and that's actually 4th best in the field. Larson is plus 1,500, which is 7th best in the field, as well as Chase Elliott, who is also plus 1,500 to win, which is 7th best in the field. And then Alex Bowman is plus 2,500 to win this week, which is 16th best odds to win the race. But those plus 2,500 odds for Bowman, that's the same odds Briscoe had at Pocono last week. So it is doable. All right, some notables that I want to mention. First of all, when I was looking at the odds, one thing jumps out is that all 3 Penske drivers were the top 3 favorites of the race. So we have Blaney as the favorite, and then Cindric and Logano, I think, are same. They're like plus 850. And then it jumps to Byron, who had the 4th best odds. So those 3 Penske drivers got really, really good odds this week. They're going to be tough. Every time you go to a super speedway, the Fords work really well together. They are very strategic. They find their way to the front. They make their cars wide. They keep the cars there. They're going to be tough again this week. They are the team to beat. Those are the 3 guys to beat. But also wanted to mention a few others. We got Keselowski. He's plus 1,400. He's looks like his speed is turning a corner. Hasn't had the results to show for it yet. But he's great on the super speedways. And like I said, Ford's really good and strategic. And Keselowski also drives a Ford. So watch him this week. I wanted to mention Christopher Bell, who won Atlanta earlier this year. But this week, he's plus 1,500. So just got it done in the spring. Now that it's summertime, can he get it done with those plus 1,500 odds for you? 2 guys are sitting at plus 2,500 that we should consider. First, Bubba Wallace. He's no slouch at the super speedway races. And so, yeah, plus 2,500 is pretty good for him. And then Daniel Suarez. He won at Atlanta a couple years ago, or last year maybe. Yeah, it was the closest finish last year at Atlanta, I believe. And he's also plus 2,500. So either of those guys could get it done for you. And then there's Michael McDowell and Ricky Stenhouse. Both of those guys are former Daytona 500 champions, and they're coming into Atlanta this week with plus 4,000 odds. So they've proven that they can get it done in the biggest race on our circuit. Now they come into Atlanta with some pretty good money on their side if you want to take them. Another Daytona 500 champ, Austin Dillon, is actually plus 6,000 this week, which was the same odds of Josh Berry winning Vegas earlier in the year. So Austin Dillon is something to consider, as well as John Hunter Nemechek is also plus 6,000. He hasn't won a 500 yet, but we've seen him run pretty well. Legacy seems to have turned a corner here with Toyota, and I mean, plus 6,000 at a super speedway. for a guy that has a little momentum on his side. Might want to consider Nemechek. But that's all the odds I want to talk. I don't need to really give you any more than that. So let's go ahead and get into our predictions. I'm texting my wife real quick to have her send in our special guest. But I'm going to give you 3 predictions. First of all, Hendrick Motorsports winner this week. This is a really tough call between Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. I want to pick Larson because he's having, his best season that he's ever had on the drafting tracks, the super speedways. But I'm going to pick Chase Elliott because he is coming off of 2 top 5s in a row. Feels like he's building momentum. They're finally turning a corner. And what better place to get your first win of the season than your hometown track, the home state of Georgia. So, yeah, we're going to go with Chase Elliott this week in the 9 car for sure. Our non-Hendrick winner, I'll go with Brett Keselowski. I like what I'm seeing out of him. Seems like he's turning a corner right now. And, he's known for being great at super speedways. So I like the odds that he's got this week. And he could be that guy to grab a playoff spot all of a sudden. And then our long shot, I'm going to go with Austin Dillon. I think plus 6,000 is amazing for Austin Dillon sitting back there. He also is kind of like Briscoe, like, he's going to win a race every now and then. And, we've seen the 3 car do that before. This week, he could easily do that at Atlanta and knock our socks off. So those are the predictions that we got for this race. And, here comes my guest. What up, bro? Here, come here. Let me make room for the youngest guest that we'll ever have on Zip It Up Pod. I mean, we could go younger and we could have Gunner come on sometime, but this is my 5-year-old son. You want to say your name or do you want me to announce you? You want me to? And now, starting on Zip It Up Pod for the very first time in his career, number 9, Braden Kozy. And the crowd goes wild. You brought in a drink with you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, bitch out first.
What do you have?
Apple juice.
Apple juice?
Yeah.
All right.
Bitch, I drink my Sprite all.
Yeah?
Okay. It was so good.
All right, so I got Coke Zero. Cheers. Your first pod. Let's do this, bro. Yep. That's actually an old cup. All right, so listen. When you talk, you're probably going to have to talk really loud so the microphone can hear you.
Okay.
Okay? Say it again.
Okay.
That was good. I like that. All right, so let's explain to everybody what we have coming up. We're going to make our picks.
Like pick our NASCAR drivers.
Yes, we're going to pick our NASCAR drivers. So starting this week is the bracket challenge.
Okay. And when I was in there with Mommy and Gunner on the couch, I was trying to think if I was gonna pick Jeff Gordon.
Oh, well, he's not racing, so you can't pick him.
On the camera, it sounds like I got a big ear. See?
I think they look great. You look like that elephant on Disney.
Or monkey.
All right. Here, let me explain real quick what we're going to be talking about, okay? So we have the in-season challenge, which NASCAR has put on. Denny Hamlin started this a couple years ago, but now NASCAR's taken over and kind of put their own twist on it. And so this is a bracket challenge. It looks a lot like your March Madness bracket, but this is going to be NASCAR Summer Madness. And so he's got his bracket, which is not filled out yet. I've got my bracket, which I did fill out. So I made sure to do mine ahead of time so that we can't overlap any, okay? So what we're going to do is hopefully everyone else will participate as well. Y'all can do these at home. You can do it on your phone or your iPad or whatever, but what's going to happen is there are 32 drivers, there's 5 rounds, and they're all head-to-head matchups. So it only matters how the driver does against his matchup. All right. So with that being said, Braden, we're going to fill out this entire bracket. I'm going to tell you the two drivers, what track we're at, and you got to tell me which one you think is going to win out of those two.
Like where we went to see Luke in Germany?
Daytona?
Yeah.
They're not going to be at Daytona. Yeah, I'll tell you, okay? So, and I'll also give my picks, which I said, I've already done those previously. So, let's start, and I'm going to have him announce his picks first, okay? So, this week is the first week. All 32 drivers are alive. Round 1 is at Atlanta. Okay, that's where they're going to be racing. First matchup is Denny Hamlin versus Ty Dillon. Who you picking?
Dillon.
Ty Dillon?
Yeah.
All right. So I also went with Ty Dillon, which this is kind of crazy. This would be a big upset. This is the 1 seed versus the 32 seed. This is the best versus the worst. And look, it's a wild card track. Anything can happen. And I think the guy that started all this up, Denny Hamlin, I think he gets upset all of a sudden. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. We want Denny Hamlin to lose. Yeah.
And crash.
Oh, I didn't say crash. You did. We want him to safely crash, right? We want him to be safe because he has a new baby now.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
Yep. But he's also got a lot of momentum, so it would not surprise me to see the 1 seed continue on.
One big boy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but he was actually at the race and watching his dad racing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, of the big kid. Of the boy.
I must have missed that. All right, let's do the next matchup, okay? We got Kyle Busch versus Brad Keselowski. Who you picking? Keselowski. That's what I picked as well. All right, so we're staying the same so far. Quit picking my drivers. That's going to be a big first round matchup, though. Kez versus Kyle Busch. Both are pretty good here. They got similar odds in Atlanta. Next, we got Bowman versus Logano. Who you got? Bowman. Good pick. That's also who I went with. And you'll notice that I heavily took our Hendrick drivers throughout my bracket. Quit picking mine. All right, next is Bubba or Suarez. Bubba Wallace or Daniel Suarez?
Daniel Suarez.
You went Suarez? Good, because I went Bubba. All right, so we are different now. Finally got some different drivers. Next, we got Nemechek or Berry. John Hunter Nemechek or Josh Berry? Josh Berry? I went with Berry as well. I could easily see Nemechek winning that one, but I just feel like Berry's kind of consistent as well, so I'm going to go with the consistent guy. Next matchup is a tough one. Chase Elliott versus Austin Dillon.
Chase Elliott.
Good pick. I went with Chase Elliott as well. But, again, we could easily see that one be flip-flopped. But, Chase is good at Atlanta. He's going to Georgia this week.
Yeah,
so we think he's going to win. Yeah. All right. Next, we got Ross Chastain or Eric Jones.
Ross Chastain.
I also went with Ross. Okay.
We are trying to pick the good guys of the race.
We're picking the good guys. Yes, we are. All right. Next, we got Christopher Bell versus Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Who you going with?
Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell? I went with Ricky. And that's only because it's a super speedway. But Christopher Bell won here earlier in the year. Okay. Yeah. Next matchup: Chase Briscoe or Noah Gragson.
Chase Briscoe.
Briscoe. That is also who I took. Okay. Ryan Preece or William Byron. William Byron. That's a good pick. That's also who I took. Ryan Blaney or Carson Hocevar.
Ryan Blaney.
Blaney. That was my guy as well. I considered Hocevar, but I went with Blaney too. Kyle Larson or Tyler Reddick?
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson, of course. He's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, but I keep going for the good.
But that is another big first round matchup. Larson versus Reddick. One of those guys is going to be eliminated right off the bat. Next one, Michael McDowell or AJ Allmendinger?
AJ Digger.
The Dinger. Let's call him the Dinger. All right, you went with AJ. I actually went with McDowell. Okay. Next we got Ty Gibbs or Justin Haley.
Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs. Okay, I went with Justin Haley. I feel better about him on the super speedways. Okay, we got two more here in the first round. Do you like Zane Smith or Austin Cindric?
Austin Cindric.
Cindric, that's what I did as well. He's really good at this track. And then last one, Christopher Buescher or Todd Gilliland? Buescher, that's a good pick because he's going to be in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch car this week. But I actually went with Todd Gilliland. Yeah. All right. So now we got to do the next round. Okay. The next race is going to be at Chicago. And your first matchup is Ty Dillon or Keselowski. Who you got? Keselowski? Okay. I actually went with Ty Dillon in that matchup. I don't like Kes at the road courses. And I'm not trying to say that I like Ty Dillon at the road courses, but that's just who I was feeling. Maybe the race for 25th will win that matchup.
Oh, Ty Dillon.
All right, next we got Alex Bowman or Daniel Suarez.
Daniel Suarez.
You going Suarez? Yeah? Okay, all right, we'll take it.
But I just picked Bowman already.
Yeah. Well, you can pick him again, but all right, okay. So I actually had Bowman versus Bubba, and of course I got to go 48 car. Okay. All right, next we got Josh Berry versus Chase Elliott. Who you picking?
Chase Elliott again.
Of course. I also have Chase Elliott advancing over Berry. And then we got Ross Chastain or Christopher Bell.
Ross Chastain.
Ah, was that a tough one though?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. You went Chastain, and I went Chastain over Stenhouse. Okay. How about Briscoe versus Byron? Who you picking? Tough one?
Chase Briscoe.
Chase Briscoe. I went William Byron. Okay.
Pick William Byron too.
You can pick him again. Because remember, you picked Briscoe earlier.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan Blaney or Kyle Larson? Tough one?
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson. Wow, that's who I took as well. I'm surprised you didn't take Blaney.
Yeah, but
Okay, I got it. All right. All right. AJ Allmendinger or Ty Gibbs? Ty Gibbs? Okay, so I had a different matchup here. I had McDowell versus Haley, and I took Michael McDowell. Moving on from Chicago Street Course. And then your last one, Austin Cindric or Christopher Buescher?
Austin Cindric.
Cindric? Okay, so I also had another different matchup here. I had Austin Cindric versus Todd Gilliland, and I went with Todd Gilliland again at the road course. I feel like he's no slouch, so that's why I went with him. But now we move on to the third round. It's time for another sip, isn't it? Cheers. We made it this far. We can make it to the end. All right, round number 3. This is going to be Sonoma, which is another road course. They turn left and right on it, okay? So your first matchup is Keselowski versus Suarez. Who you got? Suarez. You're feeling that, huh? My first matchup was Ty Dillon versus Alex Bowman, and I went with Bowman. Okay. Your next matchup is Chase Elliott versus Ross Chastain. Who you got?
Oh, this is so.
That's a tough one, isn't it? I have the same matchup. Got to pick one. Yeah, we're wearing his gear. We got to go with Chase. You got the shirt and the hat on. I also went with Chase, okay? So next matchup is you got Briscoe versus Larson at Sonoma. Who you want? Briscoe versus Larson. Who you taking?
Bowman.
Who?
Bowman.
No, Bowman's not there. I said Briscoe versus Larson. You want Briscoe? So you got both of the Chases making the Final Four.
Yeah, because I watched the race and then Chase Briscoe win.
He did very good. I actually just got done talking about that. All right, so my matchup there was William Byron versus Kyle Larson. I took Larson. Okay. All right, and then your last matchup of the third round is Ty Gibbs versus Austin Cindric. Who you got? Ty Gibbs. I would have taken that as well if it was my matchup, but instead I had McDowell versus Gilliland, and I went with McDowell.
Is there, or Orlando is?
Orlando's not on here. They don't race here in Orlando. All right, fourth round. We only have 4 drivers left, 2 matchups, and this is going to be at Dover. So Dover is an oval. It's the Monster Mile. Okay, so your first matchup is Suarez versus Elliott. Who you got? Yep, Chase Elliott. Okay, I also took Chase Elliott, but I had him beating Alex Bowman, which I think would be a great Dover matchup. And then your other Dover matchup is Chase Briscoe versus Ty Gibbs. You got 2 JGR guys here, and they're not the 2. You want Briscoe? Those are the 2 lesser Gibbs cars. And so you got Chase versus Chase in the championship, huh? Okay. My last matchup was Larson versus McDowell. And so I did take Larson, which means my championship is Chase Elliott versus Kyle Larson, 2 Hendrick cars. Imagine that. All right, so the last round is the Brickyard 400. This is at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Big track. It's the Crown Jewel event. They all want to win it. You got Chase Elliott versus Chase Briscoe. Who you think's going to win?
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott. How did I know?
Because you want Chase Elliott to win.
Yep, that's exactly who I picked too. I had Chase Elliott versus Kyle Larson, and I went with Elliott as well. So we both have Chase winning the in-season challenge.
And also put 9 and for Chase Elliott to win. A 9.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what we want. All right. That's it. You think he's going to get it done? Here's why. Do you want to say why you think he's going to win it all? Why?
Because he's a good driver.
He is a good driver. You know why I think he's going to win this in-season challenge? So number one, you don't have to win the race to win the in-season challenge. You just have to win your matchup. And Chase Elliott, we just got done a few minutes ago talking about his great consistency streak. He's finishing top 20s. And because of that consistency, I just feel like any of those head-to-head matchups that he's got where the other guy could run into trouble, Chase can usually climb out of any trouble he finds himself in. So I think he's got a legit chance of winning this entire thing. Maybe he wins the bracket for us, right? We'll see. Okay, buddy, that's all I need you for. You want to stick around until we sign off? Yeah? Okay, the next thing that I do is I always tell everybody where to eat when they go to the race. So this race is in Atlanta, Georgia, and you've been to Atlanta, Georgia before. Do you remember what you ate there? One place that you want to tell everybody to go eat? No? How about Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you like to get at Chick-fil-A?
Chicken nuggets and fries.
And what do you drink?
Lemonade.
Lemonade. So if they go to Atlanta, Georgia, they need to go to the Chick-fil-A Dorf House. Okay? Make sure you do that, folks.
And after some ice cream there.
They do have ice cream there. You can also have a waiter or a waitress wait on you at that Chick-fil-A. Pretty cool.
And also, do they have the vanilla ice cream?
I'm pretty sure they have vanilla.
Wait, so you?
I feel like you're gonna fall off of that. What?
Did you been there before?
Yeah, we've been there. We went together. All right, the next place that I want everybody to go to is called the Varsity. Do you remember that one? No? It's where they wear the hats and you get the burger and the hot dog and the orange drink and the really good fries. And it's really greasy food. The orange drink? Yeah, I think that's just what they call it. I think they call it the orange drink. You don't remember? Folks, it's really good. You will remember if you go. And the last place I want to mention is called Clay's Sports Cafe. Do you remember going there? We had a bunch of wings. You didn't eat them, but Daddy loves wings, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Those are my favorite wings, and I have to go all the way to Atlanta to get them. So that's not happening for me this weekend, but if y'all happen to go to the area, go to Clay's Sports Cafe. Awesome wings. All right, that's all I wanted to mention for your restaurants this week. Last thing is there's racing all week long. I believe it starts Friday with the Xfinity Series, but we don't have a driver in that one.
Wait, like tomorrow?
No.
Or
A couple days from now. So yeah, Xfinity, we don't have anybody in that one, but the truck race, which I believe is Saturday morning from a different track. I don't even think this one's in Atlanta, but we got Jordan Taylor in that race. Now it's not a Hendrick car, but we love Jordan Taylor. He's a Central Florida guy, and he covered for Chase Elliott last season, so we want all things good to happen for Jordan Taylor, and he'll be racing trucks this week. But then the Cup Series is on Saturday at 7 o'clock, and this starts the run that they do on TNT. So no more prime coverage. They are going to TNT, and that's where you will find all four of our Hendrick drivers trying to win and advance their matchups in the in-season bracket and hopefully take home the checkered flag from Georgia as well. You show everybody that pretty smile of yours. Where's those bottom teeth at? You got them in there?
It's coming in faster.
Thank you. That's that what'd you eat for dinner?
Hot dog and French fries.
Yeah, I got that French fry breath. You know where you got them French fries from? Five Guys. It was good, wasn't it?
And also I just drank Sprite.
Yeah. And now you're drinking apple juice with me. All right, one last cheers, and then we'll hit the road. Cheers, bro. Hey, thanks for coming on to the podcast. Do you want to tell people where they can follow you on social media? Where?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A? Nah. Sorry, kid's not on social media yet. So if you want to go give Chick-fil-A a follow, you'll make him happy. Right? All right, dude. Tell everybody, peace up. A-Town down. See y'all next week. Oh, you out.